Oh, this dude just passed gas, bro. That's one thing about our breed, bro.
Typical bullies, bro.
That's one thing. Y'all want to know about our breed? They pass gas.
All the time, bro.
Hey,
all
get
the
your
time.
head in here, bro. Jesus Christ, man. That's pretty funny. You gotta throw that in there, man. That's hilarious.
All the time, man. They do it all the time.
Jesus Christ.
No matter what you feed them, they passing gas,
man,
bro.
Let me tell you a quick story. I picked up my mom one day out of the airport, and I brought Fireball along. And man, it hadn't been 5 minutes that she got in the car. We were driving home, and this dude lets out gas, and I lower the window, and I blame him, and she's looking at me like,
yeah, right.
I can't believe you're blaming the dog. You know, but listen, luckily she stayed in my house for a week, and literally by the second or third day, she was like, yeah, at first I thought he was messing around, but I realized it's you, Fireball.
Yeah, my dog, my Sirius Jones, because he always ride with me, man. He does the same thing. Ray be clearing out the room sometimes.
Yes, sir, man. Especially when you're feeding them the raw chicken.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy, bro.
Yeah, they go hard with it, bro. But yeah, I noticed that. That is one thing y'all got to realize. Y'all getting a bully.
Yeah.
The gas. Be used to it. Get used to it. That's all you could do.
That's it, man. Don't be inviting, if you're going to be inviting somebody, you might want to let them out. Especially for the first time.
They talking about you, Fireball.
Fireball.
You talking about you, man. You pass gas?
All the time, man.
Huh?
That's one of his talents. You know, to others, and you truly feel like good for others when they do well. I don't know, man. There's something about it, bro. There's something about that positive energy. It really pays you back threefold, man. I mean, it's written in the Bible. It seems like nowadays it's almost human nature to always wish the next person bad or not see them do well. And what I found is that, dude, when you help them out just a little bit, and you're genuinely happy for somebody doing well, it's almost as if though, I don't know, man, you get repaid so much more, bro. And I don't mean just being repaid in the fact that now you're selling dogs at a more expensive rate, none of that. No, I'm talking about it's really fulfilling, bro, because of you're seeing somebody else also do well, man.
Yeah, it feels good. That's a good feeling for sure.
What's gonna make me and make my yard special is my own mark.
Right.
Being different from everybody else and how everybody else rolls.
Right.
People, for some reason, when it comes to this game, they kind of sort of want to kind of have everything inside a little box, and they're the only ones that have access to it. And the way I see it is, if this boy Fireball is able to, you know, put his seed out, and we're able to, you know, put him to correct females and whatnot, you know, I'm going to help you grow, but you're also helping me grow. It's a win-win situation.
Right.
We could both win. There's plenty to go around.
Definitely.
You know.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell people too when I'm shooting these videos and stuff. I'm like, hey, bro, like, you know, there's no reason for us to hate each other.
No.
Because if I'm hating on QBN, you still gonna breed.
Yeah, and
right. And if you hating on me, that's not gonna stop me from breeding my dogs.
No, and it's just a negative energy.
Yeah.
And negative ain't gonna ever get you anywhere. No lie, man. When I first started, we spent easily over $40,000 in dogs, like
right
that.
away.
Yeah. My girl Azu, at the time, it's close to 6 years ago, I bought her. It was $5,500 plus $1,000 to ship her in. That was just Azu. I brought in Xerox. That was another $50. That was her brother from the same litter. Same thing, $5,500 plus $1,000 to bring him in. I got Fireball. I also got these females that no longer in my yard, Caney and Rubia. I wanted to stack myself up with a common denominator, so I started everything out with, I like terrorist threats, but I want to make my version of what I see there. Right. So I want to make sure that I had terrorist threats no further than 3rd generation.
Right.
And so that's where I started piling up on. What I soon found out is that bullies, they're gonna look one way. They may look one way when they're puppies. If you don't know what you're doing, by the time they're 1.5, you know, you're gonna see some flaws. I've been on record, you know, at 4 to 6 months, more than likely you may see east-west if it's there, especially if it's genetic.
Right.
At, you know, 6 to 8 to 10 months, if you saw a little higher rear at 6 months, don't be alarmed, but if it's there by 10 months, you need to start scratching your head a little bit.
Right.
You know, that sort of thing. It's kind of like opposite of opinion of what most breeders do nowadays.
Right.
Because they look at it like, oh, I made a $7,000 investment, so
Right.
it's going to be her irregardless.
No matter what.
Right. What I learned at that point, you got to be selective, and you can't be afraid to lose money. This is not a game for the cheap. I've come out and I've said, you know, when there's a dog with 2 major flaws, that's a pet quality dog. You need to get rid of that. You cannot breed to that. At least in my yard, I will not breed to
Right.
that. Ever since then, you know, I've learned how to do things in a different manner, and it's really worked out for me. So that's why I tell a lot of people out there, it's like, you know, this is what show quality is, this is what pet quality is, this is what breed quality looks like. Like, I want to do things right by our breed.
Right.
So the best way that I can improve our breed is through education. That's my grain of salt.
Right.
So if I'm able to show you what east-west is, what a high rear is, what rear angulation is, when some dude's out here trying to stifle you for $6, $10, $20,000 and the dog looks like it's a freaking seal,
Right.
you know, you can immediately pick up on it, and that alone, it's forcing that breeder to improve his breeding practices.
Right.
You know
And
what
one
I'm
less
saying?
customer that's gonna buy one of them dogs.
If you're a C+ breeder, guess what, bro? We're about to raise the water level. You're either gonna sink or you're gonna swim.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
like, honestly, man, like when I was breeding pits in the back in the day, like I mean, the internet was around,
Right.
but it wasn't this much information available.
Right.
You know, now, like with your channel and just being able to look things up, like there's things that I didn't even know were bad things in dogs, just by, you know, watching, because I had been out of the game for so long.
Right.
You know, I see them at all these shows, and you know, you see different dogs, and everybody has their own preference.
Yes.
You know what I mean? On dogs, everybody sees something different that they like in dogs. I start to notice these things now.
Yeah.
I start to pick up on them.
One of the reasons I got into my channel, you were asking earlier, like I told you, I started out with Facebook as my main platform, and I was getting blocked. But what ended up happening is, you know, a bunch of little haters would get together and they report your account, and then next thing you know, you're blocked for 30 days. So like I told you, I used it, instead of dwelling on that, I used it to catapult us. I started out with QBN app, which I want to dare to say it's probably the first and only American Bully app out there that I've seen.
Right.
And then I turned around and I started the YouTube channel. Now, when I started the YouTube channel, I first sat there and watched what everybody was doing. In a nutshell, it's all about me, 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 me.
Yeah.
So in reality, they weren't putting out any information whatsoever.
Right.
And I was like, dude, like, if you're gonna call yourself a breeder, bro, like, you need to put something out there that is worth it. That was just my take on the whole thing.
Right.
I realized there was not an educational channel out there, so I decided, you know what, this is perfect, because it's my style to educate, to show people, you know, what I do in my yard.
Right.
But also nobody else has this, and so that's how we projected it out there. And if you look at my very first video, the 5 things you look for before you buy a puppy.
Right.
From the get, I've been preaching the same thing, you know, and I've been educating you and telling you what to look out for.
Yeah.
Many of these breeders out here, I can tell you, they've texted me. They're not necessarily happy with the type of stuff I'm putting out, because some of the stuff I'm putting out goes against, you know, their east-west dog or their high rear dogs that they're charging an arm and a leg for.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point, is it, especially if you're saying that you love the breed of dogs. So if you love the breed, you basically want to do everything you can to improve it. You know what I mean? And, you know, I had a little vlog. I haven't dropped it yet, but I was kind of just talking about how my female went into her first heat, and just like, you know, I've seen guys breed their dogs on the first heat just because they're so anxious to get their money back. And I understand, like you said, you spend a certain amount of money just on dogs to get started, and I haven't spent that much, but I have spent quite a bit of money on, you know, the dogs, the containment, the overall health of my dogs, and just this past
just feed.
Yeah, just this past year. If you care about the breed, I suggest you have another source of income. besides waiting on these dogs to have puppies.
That's a good point.
Because if, you know, at a certain point, I guess you could just become a full-time breeder, but it takes time. And
it takes time before you get to that point.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
Don't buy a dog just thinking like, well, oh, look, man, as soon as I get these puppies, I'm going to make this amount of money. Because, first of all, she might not get pregnant. You know, puppies might die.
Stuff will happen.
Stuff will happen. You know, these are living creatures. That's what a lot of people forget to realize is like they're living creatures, man. Like, you know, they have feelings. It even happened to me when I was a young breeder early in the early 2000s. I didn't have my dogs contained. My female went into heat, and my male broke out of his kennel. You got in, and he got her first heat. You know what I mean? And you know, luckily everything came out good. The puppies came out good and everything. You know, it's just a lesson I learned. You know what I mean? And yeah, and back then it was like I told you that I was always having to really research and dig deep to find just things that you can just instantly find now. And so, you know, it was just a lesson learned.
If you're coming into breeding, putting all your eggs in the breeding basket, and you're gonna breed your female in the first heat, I'm already letting you know, man, you're setting yourself up for failure. I've said this 100,000 times. What he just said right now, if you don't have another source of income where you could wait, you know, 3 or 4 years before you really start seeing the fruit of your labor as far as breeding, then that might not be the greatest idea to kind of put all your eggs in one basket. Because like he said, I can tell you right now, my female Aussie, the one I started with, her first litter, she had 2 puppies. Second litter, she had 3 puppies. All right, so if you do the math right, she's going to heat every 6 months. In the entire year, she had 5 puppies, and guess what? The first 2 pups didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And of the next 3 pups, did go somewhere, but as a breeder, you're not going to make a living. I can tell you right now, selling 3 puppies in a year.
Right,
it's just not going to happen.
You spent way more than that year.
What I see a lot in the bully community, unfortunately, is people see dollar signs immediately when they see the dogs. And I know I've harped on this, but if you're struggling, okay, and I'm not saying don't get a dog or none of that, because you're going to do what you want to do. But I'm going to give you a little tip on how to set yourself up so that you don't put that economic burden on your shoulders. If you go out and you buy yourself 2 or 3 dogs and you're struggling, you're going to struggle some more, because now you got to feed. If you go ahead and breed the females when they're 1 year old, you're going to be looked at as a backyard breeder straight up. You could buy yourself 1 male, wait till he's 1 year old, and then you can start studying him. Now, if you don't have an entrepreneur mindset, you're going to breed them every single female, and pretty much you're going to set them up for failure from the get. The best way to do it is, at first, don't be that money hungry, okay? Put them out there, but to the best females. Even if it means you don't charge anything, man. Put it out there to the best females. You know why? Because when he outproduces himself with better looking dogs than himself, now you're able to point the finger at him, fam.
Yeah.
Now you're able to charge $1,500, $1,000 a study.
Yeah.
And if you do this right and you continue to do that correctly, you know, you're going to have a $3,000, $3,500, $4,000 stud. If you're not able to get there because he's just not of that quality, you're going to be making $2,000 a stud, but you're going to know well enough sooner than later that you might be able to make a deal and get yourself one of his top picks. Let him grow up, stud that out. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
There's plenty of ways. There's more than one way to skin the cat.
Yeah, I seen that video. It made a lot of sense too, because you know I was in the same. Well, I'm in the same boat right now with my stud that I purchased, and I was just not knowing which direction to go with them. You know what I mean? And I was just kind of like talking to other breeders and trying to figure out, like, you know, should I stud them out? Should I breed them in my own yard first? I talked to a friend of mine who's a breeder. He's been in the game for a while, and he was kind of saying, man, just like if people want to pay, he's like, get him out there so he can see what he's producing. You know what I mean? And when I seen that video, I like I said, man, I've learned a lot from your videos. And
people kind of got the message a little bit confused, so I'll take this moment to kind of clarify everything. Some people are like, well, you know, why are you selling dogs and you're talking about it's bad to make money? And I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. It's not bad to make money or to breed. I enjoy what I do and I'm proud of what I do.
Right.
Okay. What I have a problem against is I see these breeders, they're at a perch. They haven't learned how to breed. but they got all this hype behind them, and they're still selling these dogs at a high price. Yet when you look at the dogs, they haven't improved the breed.
Right.
So what they're really selling is straight up hype. That's what I have an issue with, man.
Right.
Because if you've been doing this for 5 or 6 years, bro, you could definitely try and improve what you're doing. You know what I mean? I'm for let's make money. And trust me, when you take care of these dogs, they're going to take care of you. Financially, they're going to take care of you. But you got to do things right, fam. And you got to be able to call a spade a spade. If your dog is walking around east-west, you got to call that east-west.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you're seeing a high rear, you got to call it a high rear.
Right.
If you're not objective with yourself, you're never going to improve your line. You know, I haven't seriously opened him up until now. And he's barely now 4 years old.
Damn.
Now's when I'm really opening him up.
Right.
Why? Why am I doing it that way? It was rather simple. Why would I want to give you Fireball at his first generation productions and I got first generation productions?
Right.
No,
Right.
I'm the breeder, bro. I'm breeding for me first.
Right.
Now I got 3 generations of his blood. Okay,
Right.
I'll give you first generation now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, see, like I said, I'm in that boat where I don't know what to do with, because I've been taking him to shows, these little fun shows. He's only 10 months. You know, guys that have been breeding for a while, they obviously see something good in them.
Okay.
And they just like, hey, how much? And I'm like in that space where I'm just like,
Look,
I'm not sure.
Listen, and there's nothing wrong with opening them up at 12 months.
Yeah.
Like I just said a little while ago.
Yeah.
In fact, if you need to breed, if you just have to, I've created a little path where you could actually stud your pup at 12 months, take the financial burden off of yourself, and then slowly grow. That's a call that's very personal. You're going to have to decide as to what you do in your breeding program. Like I've said before, every dynamic is different.
Right.
I started out with nothing but females.
Right.
Okay. If I would have been living, say, in a property that had less land or whatnot, I probably would have just gone with a stud route.
Right.
Because every dynamic, you know, there's a way you could do it, you know, that fits your dynamic. You know, if people are seeing that and you feel like, you know, he is the backbone of your yard. Okay, like if I was in your shoes, I would decide, all right, so who's the backbone of my yard?
Right.
Is it my female or is it my male?
Right.
Which one of the two is it? If it's your male, there's nothing wrong with you putting him out there, studying him with a pup back deal, getting maybe one of his best daughters or whatnot. Eventually, you're gonna have to do an outcross.
Yeah.
But then when you bring that back, it's coming through his daughter. If it's your female, that's the backbone of the yard. You know, you could breed him to her, keep a bunch of females. You also got, you know, eventually you're gonna have to bring an outcross in because he can't be going into all his females. That's another thing, man. When I first started the game, it's all about inbreeding.
Yeah.
And then you ask somebody like, hey, bro, like, you know, do you know what a heterozygous gene is? You know what a homozygous gene is? What? I don't know. Do you know what meiosis is?
Right.
Come on, fam. And this is, and some people hit me up and they're like, bro, you keep using these technical terms. Bro, this is 6th grade biology terms I'm using, bro.
Right.
If you don't know 6th grade biology, what are you doing out here inbreeding dogs?
Right.
You don't know what you're doing.
Right.
This is why I tell you, you know, you're going to have an outcross eventually. And then once you have the outcross, if you really think about it, if that male did his job and he outproduced himself and your cornerstone is your female, you're not going to have use for that male until his daughters have grandchildren. That's in my eyes.
Right.
Okay. So you're probably going to have another 1.5 to 2 years before they're ready. Ain't nothing wrong with studying him at that time.
Right.
Right here, he's actually getting ready to go into his granddaughters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he's been out of the loop now for about a good 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Because I don't inbreed, but coincidentally, we got our first inbreeding going, man.
Nice.
We got our first inbreeding going with Jessica Hawk, QBNK Indy, and her female Naranja. So we're gonna do our first inbreeding, and like I said, it's taken me 4 years to even get there to do my first one.
Yeah.
So that should tell you, new cat, something, man. You just don't start out inbreeding for the heck of it, man. It takes you quite a bit of time to kind of figure things out and know if it's even worth it.
It's a process.
It is a process. A lot of breeders have gimmicks.
Yeah.
You're gonna see nothing but glamour shots. Right.
Right.
You ain't got a video anywhere, but you got glamour shots.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you've heard that saying where a picture says 1,000 words.
Right.
The way I see it is a picture says 1,000 lies, at least in the bully world.
Right.
In my opinion, if you're doing nothing but glamour shots. One of the reasons I'm going with Aftermath is because you go onto their website, or in fact, you can just go to YouTube and you're gonna see they show you Aftermath, front, side, back, up, down, 360. How do you want it? They're gonna show it to you. And that's pretty much how I handle myself as a breeder as well. Don't get me wrong, we do throw pictures, but if you go into my Instagram account or even Facebook, you're probably gonna have as many pictures as you're gonna have videos. I show my dogs always in motion, show them on video and show them live. I feel that shows breeder confidence, and that's what I saw from MBB. They're one of the biggest breeders out there, and that's what I saw with Aftermath. They're not afraid to show them. But either way, I feel he was a complete dog, and I feel, once I matched him up with my girl Aruba, and I do all these little, I do pundit squares and I do my little calculations and whatnot, and I feel like, based on what I've seen, what he's produced and what she's produced, I feel like it's a good match. So, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna see what comes out of that. I've also have 2 breedings with Tonka from MBB. Again, they show the dog. They don't only show you what you want to see, they show you what's really there.
Right.
And again, I see that as breeder confidence. I really appreciate that from them. And so again, I matched everything up. I felt that my girl's Genesis, her line, is the one that should be able to take it. So I decided to go ahead and throw her daughter Cafe and also Genesis to Tonka. So unfortunately for me, about a month ago, I was going to do the Genesis Tonka breeding, which is the overkill breeding or overkill litter. Unfortunately, she decided to go full-blown heat on a Friday. So they're, Tonka and Aftermath, they're both in Canada. So once I call them up, it's going to take a day for the sperm to get here.
Oh, okay.
Because she went full heat on a Friday, I wasn't going to be able to get the sperm here as per FedEx until Monday. So being a long-time breeder and knowing that you can't pass up these windows when they're there,
right?
I decided to take my backup right here.
Okay.
Fireball, and he had already bred into Genesis before. He produced Cafe, coincidentally. So we bred him to Genesis this time, but we're preparing everything for next time for it to be Tonka.
Because that's one of the things I dealt with in the early 2000s was like, I only had access to so many dogs.
Right.
And so,
Right. No, technology has definitely been good to breeding, in my opinion. I can tell you when I started back in the day, DNA testing was there. One of the hurdles you had, though, it was a lot more expensive than what it is now. It wasn't as prevalent or as simple. Right now, I'm getting ready to drop a video that's going to show you how we do DNA testing. You can order a DNA test from Embark, $150, and have it in your house the next day. And all you got to do is just swab the inside of the dog's lid and put it where it's supposed to go, and put it back in a little bottle and send it.
All right.
And within 6 to 8 weeks, you have your results. And it's so beneficial. I mean, not just if you're breeding merles, but it's beneficial at every level.